Mesechta Zevachim Daf Chaf Hey Amud Aleph. We could learn here. What do you mean over there? You mean? Zag the Mishnah Nishbach Adam. If the blood, well, there was shchita. How does it work by animal? They would slaughter the animal, and slaughter the animal by the cut of a shet, the two main arteries that would kill the animal faster, and of course there had to be a knife without any, without any bumps that it should kill it fast. It should be tzar. Cut of a shet, yeah, cut of a shet. I don't remember the English words for it.
Imperfection.
Yeah, and the blood had to go directly. First, it had to go to a kli. It could not go. It had to go into a kli sharis, one of these holy vessels, and it cannot go to the floor first and then gather it and then put it into the vessel. That's already a hefsek. That's already there's a separation from when the blood came out of the animal till it went into the kli sharis. If it fell on the floor, it's no good. But if it went to the kli sharis, if it went into the vessel first and then it fell out, and then you would gather the blood and put it into the kli, that would be fine. That would be kosher. We learned it already before, but I'm just telling you, this is more or less the gist of it. Here it fell directly to the floor. Nishmach Adam al haritzma. The blood spilled straight to the floor, and it wasn't niskabel be kli sharis. It wasn't received in the kli sharis. And the kohen gathered the blood to put it into the kli sharis, into the holy vessel. It's puzzle. You can't use the blood to spray it on the mizbeach. So the Rabbanan had learned. It says in the Torah in the Geya Pa Koyin HaMashiach, it says the Lokach HaKoyin HaMashiach Medan HaPar. It says that the Koyin HaMashiach should take from the blood of the par. HaMashiach means anointed with the oil, Gizal, with the special oil. So it says what the Koyin HaMashiach should take from the blood of the par, meaning that he has to receive it. Midam hanefesh, which type of blood? The blood that keeps the animal alive, that blood that comes out, that kills it. That's the blood that you need. Not which one. So he says, the oil can be thick, like an inch and a half, and you cut the skin, and you can get blood from the skin. That's not the blood that he has to receive. He has to receive the blood that there's no life in that blood. It's not what keeps the animal alive. The arteries, two arteries. I don't know what it is. The doctor would know. Come to shed. It's a
trachea and the esophagus.
Trachea.
Trachea and the esophagus.
The trachea and the esophagus. Okay.
The air pipe and the food pipe.
Oh, that I can say. I should have said that. That's how I learned in yeshiva. Air pipe and the food pipe. Yeah. And he cannot use the blood that if the animal died and then there's blood still coming down. That's not the blood that killed the animal. That's the remnants of the blood. That's no good either. It says, you want to be dam hapar. Dam mehapar. It says, that when it says me dam hapar, it means the blood of the par, that's what he should receive. So what does it mean? You take the word from the mem of the dam, and you transfer the mem to the hapar, and it means dam hapar, the dam from the par. And we're going to see why we have to learn it that way. If you're going to learn, like it says in the pasuk, of the blood of the par, that means you don't need all the blood. You need some of the blood.
As long as blood.
As long as you have some of the blood, that's enough. Says like it says in the pasuk, midam kipshuta means a chelik of the blood, not all the blood. No, fila mixes adam. I would have thought even a little bit of the blood is good enough. So that's impossible. As kol dami mishal par. He has to receive all the blood. You can't say achelik. So that's why we don't learn midam apart like it says in the pasuk kipshute. Rather, we take the mem and we transfer it to the word hapar, dam of the part that the dam should come directly into the shisel. Shenever, like it says in the pasuk, where do we see that all the blood has to go into the shisel? It says he's called dam hapar yishbach. I'm sorry. The blood, all the blood has to go to the foundation of the mizbeach. That's where we know that it cannot mean me dam hapar, only a partial, a chelik of the blood. The whole thing. Ela dam hapar, dam mehapar yikablenu. Rather, how do we learn pshat? When it says midam hapar, don't read it midam, read it dam, and transfer the mem to hapar and say dam mi hapar yikablan, which means he should receive it directly from the par. Ukasava goydin, that you deduct a letter from the midam, the mem, umaysifin, and you take that deduction of the mem from the midam, and you add it to the next word of hapar. So you read a dam me hapar. The darshan, that's how you darshan.
So mean
Dam
the
hapar.
entire dam?
That kol dam is for sure. So you can't say midam. You can't read it kipshut midam hapar, which means only part of the dam. Dam. So rather you read it dam hapar, which means the dam of the par has to be directly into the klisharis. It cannot be a
Does it
hefsek.
mean all the dam?
Of course, it means all the dam. We have a different passage that's called dam. That's referring to putting it in the yisod of the mizbeach. No, that's two different in Yom. Yeah.
It's called dam. Oh, Yishma.
Okay, go from we previously had learned. The one that slaughters the animal has to receive all of the blood of the par. That all the blood of the par he should pour into the yisod of the mizbech, into the foundation of the mizbech. In fact, you might have how it says the pasuk is referring to the remnants, what's left over. Of course, how's it possible? There's the
What does it say in the pasuk, Ron?
the pasuk is talking about whatever's left over after the zika. It's not all the blood. It says that after you did the zika, you did the avodas.
Use the blood
One
already.
below,
Part
use
of
the blood.
already.
So it's already part gone. So it's not cold dummy. So how could you say that's cold dummy? How do you limp shot that it's
It's called dam. It has to go into the clay shrouders.
right?
That's what it means.
Oh, wait. So he may not. So since you cannot be referring to when it says kol dameh by the shirayim, because shirayim means the opposite of kol dameh. Shirayim means what is right. But shirayim means whatever happened after the avodah. How could you say it's referring to all the blood that's coming out of the animal? If we're talking about only the blood that was used, only which blood was poured in to the yisod of the mizbeach, only after they used some of the blood for the zrika. The halei zilikulidam, you don't have all the blood because you already used it for zrika. Says Gemara, since it cannot be referring to let's call Damai to Shirayim, like a big Kabbalah. So you have to receive it directly. The Keli Sharis has to receive it and no interference from other things. The Sheikhet, when he slaughters the animal, he has to pick up the chalif, the knife, the chalif, in order that the blood shouldn't fall into the kli, because that's an interference. The blood has to come directly into the kli. It cannot come through a hefsek, through a chalif, into the kli. That would passel the blood.
Drip in from the challah.
Shouldn't drip in from the chalif. So right away pick up the chalif. Says the Gemara, you should take from the dam apart. It says the kli shara should be taken from the par, but not from something that's together with the par, with the knife, which is dripping into the kli. That's no good. So therefore you have to keep it up. Says the Gemara,
Why is it invalidated by having it?
because the pasuk says it has to directly. It's a pasuk.
There's no interference.
No interference, and the chalif will be interference. Says what do you do with what do you wipe the blood of the dam? Says by the rim of the klisharis they
What
would
kind of
wipe
blood do you have to wipe?
the blood of the. You need the chalif. You're not allowed to use the blood of that chalif and shecht another animal for a different company. You're mixing in the
The
blood.
blood has to go into the keli. So how's there blood on the knife?
No, now it's not all the blood. It's called whatever's left over. Taka goes. Whatever's left over. That's the pshat. And it says by Shiraim, we have to learn. It doesn't mean kol damei. It means whatever's left over after
After the zrika.
after the zika. And why does it say it together? So he says you have to learn that the pshat is referring to the Kabbalah, that there shouldn't be any interference when he's receiving the blood into the
What do you say
klishars.
what about the blood that's on the knife?
On the knife, what are you going to do with it? You have to wipe it down because you can't use it to shecht another carbon. You're mixing blood with a one carbon. So how do you wipe it?
You have to wipe it off or wash
Yeah,
it?
you wipe it off, but you can't wipe it off with something that's not holy. So what do you do? So-
With the hands and soap,
No, you can't use your hands. He says it has to be. If you want to see, you can't drive with a b'shmata. Sharei hadam niskadish lavin sakorban, because the dam became sanctified. Or he has to wipe it. Yeah, he can't use a shmata because the shmata is not kaddish. It has to be. You can only wipe it on something that's holy. So he wipes it on the back, on the rim of the kli sharis, and it goes on
He
the.
wipes on the
No, on
The
the.
vessel.
It's funny. I'm going to tell you something in a second. On the vessel itself, on the holy vessel, on the back of it, there was a story. It was a yaka came to a restaurant. You know, that's a soul. So they would, they if you want a napkin, cost them 10 cents, and it costs them over there everything they charge for everything. It's money. So the guy says, I don't have money. So how do you wipe it? He says, he shows him emotions on the back of the next guy. He says he won't recognize that I wiped my hands on him. He says, you didn't recognize. I'll give you he says, he is this guy. He is the guy who told to wipe it on the other guy's back. He says, won't the guy recognize that I wiped my hands on his back? So he tells back to the guy who's asking. He says, well, you didn't recognize. Anyway, sagt jemand, aber am Chisna. Aber am Chisna, aber am Yimmi, aber am Baba. Rav Chisda hat gesagt, den Namen für Rav Yimmi, aber am Baba. HaShoichet tzarich sheyitein es havridin l'seich hakli. The Shoichet has to make sure that the vridin, that's where the blood is coming from, she goes directly into the Kli. Into the Kli HaMakabel. And there shouldn't be any hefsek between the vridim and the ear of the kli. We said the challah before. No, I'm saying, right.
Rabbi, can I ask you something?
Yes.
So the second animal that he chefs,
Yes.
and after he's finished, he could actually wipe on the vessel.
Yes.
How many animals does he have to kill before he fills up that vessel?
No, each time the vessel is used up of that carbon. And then they pour it down in the foundation of the mizbeach.
So how many times do you have to do before you fulfill whatever the mitzvah?
No, they use the blood to spray. That's what is machaper, and it also allows them to eat the rest of the meat if it's a kam shlamim. And whatever remnants of blood there was, they would pour it out in the mizbeach, on the foundation of the mizbeach. There were special holes over there.
Gotcha.
Okay. It's Manami, we also had learned. Amar Avasi, Amar Rav Yechnan. Avasi had said the name of Rav Yechnan. Avridim tzar sheyiru aver hakli. The vridin have to face the ear, the opening of the kli, where the ear of the vessel is. Boy Manei, Rabbi Yasser, Rabbi Yechnan. Avasi asked the question of Rabbi Yechnan. How you mekabel v'nechasu shulei hamizor? He was receiving the kli, but the bottom was so thin that it let up and it opened up the bottom of the kli. The moment that the blood fell on the kli, on the bottom, it opened up. It wasn't strong enough. It wasn't a good keli.
I mean, the bottom from the bottom.
The gold is from the bottom is very thin. Gold is very thin. So he says, but he says, listen, maybe it's considered as the dam came to the aver. So we say once it reaches the aver, it's like it's in the kli already. As if it was a kluta kibisha unkadam. While it's in the air, it's as if it's landed. Now, what's the deal?
What do you want to say? That even if it spills out, you can catch it and bring it back and bring it
even if it spills out, it was like it was in the kli, and then it fell on the floor. Do we consider it like that? And pick it up from the floor. Yeah.
If it goes through the vessel.
If it went through the vessel because there was a bottom, and it maybe when it hit the ear, it was already as if it was lying in the kli, and then it opened up, so it's like it fell out. Says the Gemara, "Ava shein sefla nor kimunach dami, I like kimunach dami." Avir, the ear, where it's not going to rest at the bottom. Should I say it's not considered as munach? You should say it's kimunach. There's a Rashi that says that it has to be that there was no bottom lechatchila, because if there was a bottom, there's no shaila that it would be a klisharis. So we'll learn either way, however you want to learn. Amalei, Rabbi Yechnan said to Avasi, Tanisua, we have an answer. We learned this. We can learn it how. But chavis shemonachas tachas hazinuk. And hamayim shebeseicha lechein shebechutzela psula. So he says that let's say somebody who's tummy mace, so he needs the parah aduma. But the ashes of the Parah Aduma had to be mixed with Mayim Chaim. And you can't use She'iva. You can't take water that's not live water. So what happened was, while the water was on top of the Kli, he says, I need this water to mix with ashes. He grabs the water while it's over the ear of the Kli, and he wants to use it to mix it with the ashes.
He didn't allow it to go in.
Oh, he didn't allow it to go in. Says the Gemara Psulim, it's possible. Because it's as if it was in the Kli, and he took it out of the Kli, which is She'iva, which is possible. He cannot use Yeshepta Vasa, drawing water. It has to be direct. Even though it's in the ear, but
What does
the
he have to
ear.
do with the water? He has to mix it with the ash, right?
Yes, but it has to be live water. But here, it's as if it went into the Kli already,
Where
and
was
he
the
took
water
it out.
coming
From a river, let's say, a stream.
from?
A live stream, right? And when it hit the ear, he grabbed it before it went into the Kli. It was right on top of the Kli. Says it's possible because it's as if it went into the Kli, and now he's taking it out of the Kli to use it. So you see, that's all very good. So he's saying, Pia Hasinit, Mayim Shabbat Psulim, Shabbat Ksherim. If the water didn't reach over the ava of the Kli and he grabbed it there, that's fine. That's good water. But once it reaches the ear of the Kli, it's as if it was Munach, even though it didn't land, because he grabbed it in the ear. But which ear?
What does he
The ear
do
over
with
the
the water
Kli.
that he grabs?
He
Doesn't have to
mixes
go
it with
into
the
a-
ash for the
Yeah, but it doesn't have to go into a keli to mix?
Yeah, but that's a specific keli of the ash, where he has the ash. But it was going into a keli that had nothing to do
Oh,
with
the
it.
ash was already in a keli?
Yeah. So he says, but if it's outside, if it's not in the ear of the chavis of the barrel, then it's kshenim. So you have a raya. Look, the ear of the kli is considered as munach. Says you want to this is a comparison. We're speaking about where there was a bottomless. There was no bottom to the kli. Here you're talking about there's a bottom to the kli. And you're answering from a kli that it could rest on. There's going to be a bottom of a kli. Here, there's not going to be a bottom of a kli. Says Yimani, very good shaila. Really, really had two questions. What were the two questions? If you're going to conclude that ear that's not going to land in the bottom of a kli, there's no bottom. It's not considered as if it's resting in the kli. What's going to be if it was a bottom? There was a bottom of a kli, and he grabs the before. Will it be considered like it's resting or not? And we brought an ayah that it is. Okay. So our case is talking about bichlal, right when it reaches the ear of the kli. Is it, if there's a bottom to the kli, is it considered as resting? So we said yes, from the Eifa Para, that he wanted to use the water that was over the ear of the barrel. He grabbed it for the ash of the para, and we said it's possible because it's as if it was in there. Rav Yisrael Masnei and Rav Yisrael learns pshat that way. That there were two questions, and he was only answering the second question. The first question is unanswered, and we're not going to have an answer at the end. I don't see any answer. Rav Kahana Masnei Chavis B'Ymenei. Rav Kahana says the whole shayla was different. He asked about a chavis b'negei tamei chatas. He asked, what about? He spoke about the case of the afer of the Parah Aduma lechatchila. Could he take the water that reaches over the ear of the chavis to put it in the kli where there's the afer? And he obviously didn't know of the brisa. Upashidle, and we have a brisa. Chavis, we have the brisa of chavis that tells you it's awesome. Rabba masn chavis b'Ymenei. Rabba learns that Abasi is for the gear if the water by Eifa Chatas, Hitake is by the water of the Eifa Chatas, Upashid le Mizak, and he answered from the case of our Gemara, where the kli has to come directly in from the blood of the animal. Aren't you maida that? Listen, when the animal's blood comes out, it doesn't come out spritzed. So when it spritzes, it hits the wall first, and then it goes down. So it's not straight. So it's going off a wall. it's going through the ear. And nevertheless, we said, no, it's good. Even though we don't consider it as a hefsek. Even if it didn't spritz. Even if it went down in the ear, but it's going through the ear, let's say the ear is a hefsek. Obviously, why is the ear not a hefsek? The ear is considered as mamish the bottom of the kli, so it's not a hefsek. And that's why, even if he just puts it by the neck, the kli, and it doesn't come right away to the floor, it has to go through the ear, it's not a hefsek. But b'chlal, if you want to be practical, it spritzes. It hits off the wall and then it goes down. So it's really a hefsek, and he doesn't consider it as a hefsek. Okay, sagt die Gemara Tanan Hasa, we learned in the Mishnah in Masechta Para, the live water. Nasan Yadai, or Raglai, or Ali Rakes, Yadai Shayab Rahman Losecha Chavis, Psulan. Let's say the water's coming down a stream, and he wants it to go into this Chavis, but he wants to direct the water. So what does he do? He puts his hands so the water should go like this into the Chavis, or he puts his foot so it should direct the water should run off his foot into the barrel. Oh, 1 second. Either in our case, or he uses a leaf, a vegetable, a food. Huh? No, that's psulin.
So that's not good.
That's not good. Ale konim, but reeds, vale agizim, or leaves of nuts, which you can't eat. It's nothing. Ksheira, that's kosher. Why? Zakla, this is the rule. Davar makabel tuma psulin. Anything that's able to be makabel tuma, that you're using as a conduit for the water, you can be makabel tuma. So anything that you're using as a conduit to bring the water to it, if it's a davar makabel tuma, if it's something that's susceptible to tumah, impurity, is not good as a conduit. A mustama blettel is okay, but a vegetable blettel that you can eat is like a peta. If water comes on it, it's a davar makabel tuma. In fact, how do we know this? It says, Rabbi Yochanan said it in the name of Rabbi Yisrael. It says in the pasuk, Ach mayon uber mikvei mayim yiyah tahar. So look, it says yiyah havayosam ayidei taharate. It says tahar yiyah tahar. It has to remain, and it can only be used with something that could remain tahar the whole time. Not something that's able to become tamei. That cannot be used as a conduit. Amar Rabbi Chia, Rabbi Chia said, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, so he say matters. Aver kli kekli dami. So this is what we came out with, that the inside, the ear of the kli, is like the bottom of the kli, and that's what we concluded. Amar Rabbi Zeir Rabbi Chia Rabba Dilma. She says, how do you have a raya that the avir of the kli is like part of the bottom of the kli? Maybe it's talking about that it's mamish to the bottom. He has it right away coming, the water, the blood coming directly on the bottom, pushes it in, and it goes straight down. The blood.
What do you mean pushes?
He takes the keli, right? He says it's not going through the ear. It's going directly. He somehow takes the food pipe and the windpipe, he pulls it out into, and he lets the blood go touch the floor of the kli. So what's your idea that the avir of the kli is like the kli? Amalei says tarda, he says shaita. He says gedei sheyav mayim lachavisnan. It says sheyavru, that the water should pass through what? Pass through the ear to the bottom of the kli. Look, Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Chia said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Me'edusay shel Rabbi Tzadok nishnas mishnazu. He says this Mishnah Masechta Para that they will machshir the water through the leaves of nuts or leaves that are not mekabel tumah. He says this Mishnah was learned where the Tanan, hey Rabbi Tzadok al hazichlin, on water that was running on the ground. Shekilachem ba'alei hagozim, that the water was running on the ground, and it went, and he had a leaf of a nuts connected to the barrel. Shein it says b'feidish, it's kosher. That's the name of a place that the water went into the chavis through a leaf or a branch of the nut. And this shaila came in front of the Sanhedrin. that the Sanhedrin Gedela sat by the Lishas Hagazis. So you see, Mefeyesh, it's kosher. Amen Rabbi Zaydu, Amen Rabbi. Ha-tzoydem oizen ha-par. After he shechs the par, he goes and he cuts off the ear of the par.
What for?
I don't know. He wanted to use it. I don't even know. And then he receives the blood from the animal, puzzle. He says, "Shenama." The carbon puzzle. Even though there was a good shechita, but when he cut the ear and then he wants to do Kabbalah of the blood, it's no good.
Well, in other words, before he did the Kabbalah.
Before he did the Kabbalah, it says Shenama lo kachoy mashiach medama par shehoya kvar. It has to be in the same status how it was at the beginning, without a mum. The time of shechita. If at the time of shechita it was missing a ear, it's a puzzle of carbon. Yeah, but so he says from the lokach medama par. He says at the time when you're taking the blood, it has to be the same way as before the shechita, the animal. For carbon? For carbon, because it's a mum. It's a regular mum, yeah. Yeah. Says, how do we know by kachim kalam the same thing would apply if there was a normal shechita and by the Kabbalah Saddam he was missing an ear, the animal, and he wants to receive the blood? How do we know it's going to be possible? But Rabbi Tanya, we learned in the Brisa. It says, Tamim, this is Karban Pesach. I just want to tell you, Karban Pesach is kachim kalam. So it says, Tamim, Zacha, Ben Shona. It has to be a sheep, it has to be complete, no mum, a male, and a year, within a year. Shei Tamim, uben Zacha, b'shas ha-shchita. It has to be Tamim, uben Zacha at the time of the shchita. B'kabbalah v'heilacha, b'zrika menayin. How do we know? By those avodas that the ear has to be on, it cannot have any mum. Talmud Lema, Yiyah, it says in the pasuk, Yiyah. So what does the Yiyah come to teach us? Kol haba yoisov, that all the time, all the avodas that have to do with the carbon, lo Yiyah ela tam uben shana. He has to have both conditions. He cannot have a mum, and it has to be within a year. In fact, you want to say Abaye is the kasher. Really? It has to be after the shechita was kosher, and then he makes a woman the animal. It's puzzle. Oh, look, Rabbi Yeshua, Kol Hazvachim Shabbat Torah, all the kabbanis of the Torah, Shenishtaye Mehem Kizayis Basar Kizayis Chaylev, that after the shechita he did a good shechita and he lost the meat, or everything became tamei. And he only has what left over, a kezayis of meat, a kezayis of chaylet. So that's the biggest mum you can have. You're missing the whole animal. He says, you can use the blood, you can spray the blood. So how could it be? And you said it has to be tamim. It has to be complete. The animal, like at the time of shechita. At the time of shechita, it wasn't a kezayis. You had to shech the behema. Nicht kein kezayis. It says the gresta mumus can no zayin. Everything is missing.
What do you mean it remained? There was a remaining bus. What happened?
That's
to
it.
the animal?
Got lost. Maybe the animal, another chai came and ate up 3/4 of it. I don't know. It's missing. You want to see what he says here? He says, Abdu. V'nisha rak kezayis me'achadam. Actually, Saddam, you can still do the Aveda. And it's a kosher carbon. Says, you're right. It's a good kasha. Targum ben shana. He says the only thing that you need that should remain, that it should be within a year. In fact, you want me can mean the b'shashchi, the animal. That has to be within a year. In fact, what are you talking about? Well, me can mean the b'shashchi to ben shana b'shas elachozika ben shtayim. How's it possible? For now, I'm not really cold. I hope I'm finished recovered. So it says at the time of the shechita, he was 1 year, right, within a year, and then after the shechita, when he came to do ha'ilach, no good. He's already 2 years old. He's already in the second year. How do you jump?
Yeah, his birthday.
How? Yeah, very good. My Rava says they say, man, sho'ois poisles b'kadoshim. The years of an animal we go according to the hour when he was born. So it could be he was born midday, yeah. So the whole morning he's before. Yeah, they don't tag it. If you tag it as a mum, they would spray it. They would write.
Why don't they tag it?
Tag it as a mum. It's a blemish. So they would tag it. So they spray it. They would know. So let's say his birthday, he was born 3:00 in the afternoon. Up to 3:00, he's before. He didn't pass the first year. 3 o'clock, no good.
What do you mean they would spray? I'm confused.
They would spray simanim as a sign how holy is, whatever the signs they had. With a color spray. Okay, we'll stop here.